Well, it started, I mean, I call them units because they're sort of individual, each one is like an individual frame or statement. And usually I do sort of net kind of type of works, but they kind of grow out of themselves. They're much more like organic, and I decide where the frame is, or usually the frame is just a thin band of knitting, or just something that holds it together, that gives them some sort of frame. But it's something that sort of grows more from the inside. Whereas here with this, that's why I wanted to try this, is that you have these given formats. They're like 220 in one side and 150, I think, the other side, plus the stands. And you have that given frame like a piece of paper, and you have to react to that. And I think that's why, every single one turned out really differently. And it's much more like a collage, because, like when you have a piece of paper, you have something you have to react to, rather than starting with the things that you have in your hands. So it's a very different procedure. Well, it's sort of everything, really. Everything that I feel I can manipulate or do something with. And I come from fashion, so I have this sort of feel for materials and feel for textures. And I like using wool because it's malleable. You can build something up. And generally, I rather do that than actually using stone that you cut into. The work is much more like a building up process always. I find things. I've got a huge archive in my studio of stones and materials and synthetic or organic stuff that I just pick from whenever I feel I need to. For instance, here the red, one side is just the fabric itself, the other side is dipped in wax, and I felt it needed that sort of harshness. It needed something that has its own body, whereas the other fabric is very, very thin. It's organza. It just flops. It just hangs. Or the tree trunk, I felt I had to cut inside and kind of have these bit of wood sticking out. So I can't really say. Intuitive, but also sometimes I do works where I feel that certain materials have to go together, like the stone and the concrete. The tension also between things. That's one thing I would say, that there always has to be a certain tension of every single ingredient gives out some kind of energy or something, and the composition is according to how I feel they relate to each other, shape-wise, but also what they're made of or their meaning. The materials that I pick up and that I want to use, I feel like every single one of them has some sort of how can you say, like energy or characteristics, or personality sounds too much like a human being. It's but something that I feel, and the way I put them together and how I manipulate them is to give them like a whole, to put them together as a whole, to give them some sort of connection, and so I think that's why I call them units as well, because I think every single one is like an individual unit,